Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Dr. Bashar Wilson with New York Sports Acupuncture, Doctor of Acupuncture and Eastern Medicine. So today we are going to be talking about secrets of the aging athlete. So we all saw the fight last Friday between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. A lot of folks have a lot of feelings about it. Was it real? What was going on? Did Mike throw the fight? He was pulling punches. What happened to the Mike that we saw in the training? And so I'm just going to use that as a springboard and even as a teaching element for what goes on with an aging athlete. You know, Mike Tyson, 58 years old. It's 2024. I've been watching him fight since 1986. When I was a child, watching the fight, sitting next to my son, looking at him and thinking damn, I was actually younger than him when I was watching him fight. And here I am now, gray beard and all, a whole lot less hair and some age and wisdom on myself too. So, to go into what was going on with Mike from my perspective. And it's not going to be a whole live on Mike Tyson or Jake Paul for that matter, or even the fight for that matter. But from my perspective, what's going on with Mike Tyson? Mike Tyson, 58-year-old man, closer to 60 than to 55 or 50 or 40 or 30. Or how old was he? 19, 20? The youngest champ when he won the World Heavyweight Championship. I don't know what year was that, back in 86 or 87, whatever year that was. And a whole lot goes on with the body since then. And so, a whole lot goes on with the body. And so we're going to discuss that all from an Eastern medicine standpoint of what goes on in that way. So, and then you can actually look at some of this and how it addresses you, and how, excuse me, of how that may apply to you, and even with Mike Tyson, how that applied to the fight. And even anybody else that's 58 years old, and your parents or you yourself, and how you feel. And if you were ready to go out to play a competitive sport with a 27, 28-year-old person, I think about it like Hakeem Olajuwon or Michael Jordan. Mike Tyson, Michael Jordan, Michael Jackson, bless his spirit, were the three Mikes of the 80s and even the 90s. And so that'd be crazy if Michael Jordan laced up and was going one-on-one versus, a John Morant or an Anthony Edwards or somebody like that. But, that's besides the point. So when we look at things from an Eastern medicine standpoint, we deal with the 5 elements, which are wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. Each one of those elements rule different organs and organ systems of the body from an Eastern perspective. So when we look at the wood element rules the liver and the gallbladder. And when we look at things from a holistic perspective, it takes into account so many more things than just the anatomy and physiology of the liver or any of the organs that we're speaking on. It covers a whole wide range of things. So when we're looking at the liver, we're looking at the quality of the tendons and the joints. We say in Eastern medicine, and specifically East Asian medicine, that the liver stores the blood. The liver is responsible for, we say, the smooth flow of the body's chi and blood, your vital energy. And so when there's any deficiencies and weaknesses in the liver, it's going to show up in many different ways. So when we're looking at how the liver stores the blood, one of the things going to the fight is that, we know Mike Tyson was in the hospital a couple months ago, and he lost a lot of blood. He had an ulcer. He was in the hospital, had to get whatever surgery, whatever sort of procedure. And he didn't have a lot of blood that his body produced. He's still in a state of recovery. And similarly, when we look at, again, how the liver, it stores blood, we say that your blood returns to the liver when we're sleeping. And so we have to have a strong liver. So as we think about over the course of our lives, or one's life, or life in general, all of the different things that can cause weakness in the liver. In Eastern medicine, we talk about anger, really all of the emotions in general, but we say anger is the negative emotion that affects the liver the most. So anger causes what we call liver chi stagnation, causes the chi, that vital energy, to not flow, to get tight. Like sometimes folks will say when they're angry, I'm tight. And they're literally tight right now. And that tightness is showing up in how the liver is going to stop and slow down the flow of the body's chi and blood in the way that it does. Hold on. Let me put this person in timeout. We got some clowns in the comments. Had to get rid of them. But we say when someone is tight, it affects the flow of your body's chi and blood. These things can even affect and constrict the blood vessels and lead to things like high blood pressure, or what's called in Western medicine high blood pressure. Over time, again, the liver rules the tendons and the joints. And so when one is tight, they're not able to flow as well mentally. And that's also going to go and affect how well someone is physically. Someone with tight is going to go with, when you kind of feel tight in your shoulders, you feel like the world is weighing on your shoulders, and that tightness can go up to the head and cause headaches. That tightness can cause, that red eyes. The eyes, we say, are ruled by the liver and the wood element also. We know, again, with the eyes, when one has liver damage, they can have yellowing of the eyes, which in Western medicine relates to jaundice, and it's an outward showing of what's going on inside. And we don't want to wait until the eyes are yellow or other issues before we start taking care of ourselves and taking care of our body's liver and the liver chi. The liver can also, in Eastern medicine, relate to the nerves and our nervous system and different conditions. We know with our nervous system, we have our central nervous system, which is our brain, and our spinal cord, which runs down the center of our back. And then off of the spinal cord, you have all of the peripheral nerves, which branch off and go from the neck down into the arms, from the lower back down into the legs. And if there's some tightness there, there's going to be that tightness which can cause muscle spasm. And that muscle spasm can actually tighten up on the blood vessels and cause like a pinching of the nerve, which is then going to cause a different level of communication between the brain and different parts of the body. One of the things when we deal with our nervous system, we deal with a concept called proprioception. This is how we know where we are in space. When you see a football player running down the sideline with a defensive player on him on an elite level, quarterback throws it, is going out of bounds, he has to jump, he stretches out fully, catches the ball with his fingertip, with control, brings it in, goes straight up, stiff, and lands with just the edge of his toes on, in bounds, and fall safely without getting crushed by the defender. All that is proprioception and knowing where we are in space. And as we get older, our bodies have like a natural process of degeneration, and part of that degeneration goes with the nervous system and how we perceive where we are in space. And the body, if you just leave it to its natural process without working on it consciously, can begin to have decreased nervous system function, which is going to affect how our nerves relate to our muscles and how our muscles communicate. And then the body is literally not moving and functioning and responding in the way that we will want to, as well as it can. So with our emotions, we want to work to stay relaxed. We want to do some of the deep breathing. We want to inhale and exhale with intention, and really focusing on our thoughts, doing the different things that we can do to relax our minds, whether, like I say, it's the deep breathing, the meditation, yoga, qigong, taking a walk through the park, and working to constantly stay in that relaxed state of mind. And one of the easiest ways that I find that is to inhale and exhale, inhale and exhale. If you go back in our library, go back, we did the video I did last week, actually. And if you're watching this in the future, you can go back, and there's a video on meditations for positive energy. And I went through a whole bunch of different exercises that you can do to help relax your mind throughout the day, help to start off your day intentionally and in a peaceful and positive mindset, and even ending the day with different breathing exercises so that you can fall asleep easy and have a restful sleep and not have all of the things on your mind over the course of the day. And so that's pretty much it. But let's move on. That was the wood element. Next, we're dealing with the fire element. And in Eastern medicine, the fire element, the yin organ, or the main organ that we deal with, is the heart, and its paired yang organ is the small intestine. We're going to deal mostly with the main organs today. And so with the heart, we say the heart rules the shen. Your shen, S-H-E-N, is like your connection to your higher self. We all have our individual soul and spirit, and we all have a higher purpose, a purpose while we're here. And that shen deals with that subconscious connection to our higher purpose, and that shen lives in our heart. And so different aspects of our spirit are all manifesting and housed in all of our different organs of the body. And if those different organs of the body are weak for whatever reason, they're not able to house that organ as well and as efficiently as it could. And that aspect of our soul, that aspect of our spirit and our consciousness, we may have more difficulty tapping into, which will then manifest in difficulties in life and really ultimately manifesting our life purpose. So the heart is that emperor of the body, the ruler of the body in that way, and it houses the shen, that subconscious connection to our higher self. The heart also rules the blood vessels. One of the things in Western medicine is that arterial sclerosis, where it's that literally hardening of the blood vessels, where we say that someone can have like a hardened heart or have some heart, and that emotion of the heart on a negative level is is impatience and overjoy. And it's great to have joy, obviously, but that joy where someone is just like out of control and really just too enthusiastic for no reason, where it's like, slow down, that's actually an issue with the heart, or even ultimately where folks have a disturbed shen, where they're literally what we would call like crazy, in that way, to use that term. And so the heart rules the blood vessels, the actual physical blood vessels that are responsible for the blood circulation. And as we get older, due to diet, due to stress, the emotions that we spoke about with the liver tightening on tightening the whole body, tightening the blood vessels, their muscles around the blood vessels and all throughout our body. Well, not around the blood vessels exactly, but the blood vessels are made of flesh, and they can get tightened also. And as the heart has to force the blood through even more, that's where like the blood pressure can go up. And as folks get older, also as we discussed, the nervous system connection to our organs in our body, as that nervous system connection to the body can decrease due to muscle spasm, a pinched nerve, the dehydration of our vertebrae, which Jelly will get to that also. Pretty much just the nerves being kind of squeezed and impinged on. You could think about it as if you're resting and pushing on a hose. The water can still come through, or squeezing a straw. The fluid can still go through, but it's not going to be as efficient as the full-on pressure if the hose or the vessel, whatever it is fully open. And remember, our bodies are over 70% water. And so all of the vessels in our body, our blood vessels, our lymphatic vessels that deal with our different waterways in the body, our capillaries, and all of these things need to be open. And so our heart has that main relation in Western and Eastern medicine of dealing with the pressure of the blood vessels and of the blood. We're also dealing with the quality of the blood. Some people can be what we say blood deficient, which in some ways in Western medicine can relate to anemia. And then we also know that cardiovascular disease is one of the main health issues that affect people in the U.S. and is the number one cause of death. And so that is, if anything, the main organ that we really work to need to be protecting is our heart, on a physical, on an emotional, and on a metaphysical standpoint. So when we stay in those positive emotions of love, joy, and happiness, it all helps to literally open up the heart and helps the heart to blossom, which is then going to help support the blood vessels. We want to eat different foods, specifically plant-based foods, whether it's your vegetables, fruits, herbs, and things that are going to be, that fiber that's in them is going to be like a broom that's going to help to flush out the buildup that can constrict the blood vessels and make it harder for the blood to flow, which then makes the heart harder to work. One is going to get winded more because the blood is not going to be able to pump and get to the organs. Excuse me. The blood is not going to be able to pump as efficiently to bring that blood to the organs and the cells and the tissues, and that's going to become deficient. We know the blood brings all sorts of nutrients to our body, in our body, everywhere. The blood carries the oxygen that when we inhale, the oxygen goes into our lungs, which is covered with all sorts of blood vessels that absorb that oxygen and bring it everywhere we need to go, where it needs to go in our bodies. And then the veins bring that deoxygenated blood back up to the heart. So from the lungs to the heart, and then our heart pumps the blood everywhere that it needs to go in the body. Then the blood flows back to the heart through the veins and then makes its way back to the lungs. And then we exhale that carbon dioxide and even other waste. Breathing is also one of the main ways that we get rid of waste in our body, with breathing, sweating, urinating, and moving our bowels. So we really want to protect our heart. Next, we're dealing with the earth element, which relates to the energy of the spleen in Eastern medicine, and the spleen rules the digestion. During life, the main way that we get our nutrients is through our food and the beverages that we consume. And the quality of our digestion is going to determine how we're able to extract the nutrients that we need from our food and create our body's chi, the vital energy, and also the blood. There's a whole way in East Asian medicine of how we talk about how that chi, the essence, the pure essence that our digestive system extracts from our food it's sent up to the lungs where it mixes with the chi of the air, and the chi of the air and the food and water all go on to create our body's blood. So if you have a weak digestion, and that weak digestion may show with signs like bloating, gas, acid reflux, tired after eating, diarrhea, constipation, and of course is going to be from the quality of the foods that you even consume for your digestive system to even have to extract the nutrients from. So what you put in is what you put out. And especially as we're getting older, we want to make sure that we're eating at the top of the food chain. We're eating the best foods that we can afford. You know, we're not children, and even as children, we couldn't, eat those type of foods then, but it didn't really show up because the effects and the signs of aging didn't show up in, children or somebody in their 20s, but, excuse me. But once we get to our 30s and 40s even, I tell people you want to be like a priest or a priestess with your health. So you want to be, you can't eat that stuff anymore. You can't just, because the body's not going to recover. Back in the day, I remember when I was in college, one summer, me and one of my bros, we were eating a bunch of pizza. We had to hook up at the pizzeria, getting a bunch of pizza. Started I think it was my sophomore year in college, had a little gut, not even that much, but a little gut. We did some push-ups and sit-ups for a week, gone. If I get a gut now, it's going to take a whole lot longer than a week. I'm going to have to literally fast and damn near starve myself for a week and do some intense exercise and go and do all sorts of things to lose that weight and hopefully keep it off. And so as we get older, we want to keep in mind that our bodies don't recover like they do when we were younger. And oftentimes it takes an outside intervention, like people got to come in to see me to get their acupuncture and massage and their herbs and have to do all of these exercises where when we were young, you might have literally walked it off or slept it off or rest or whatever it is. I used to play basketball with like a twisted ankle, put a little brace on my ankle, tie my shoes tight, and didn't miss a day. It was hurting while I was playing, but a couple days later it healed. If that happened now, it'd be a wrap. Arthritis setting in, pain for the rest of our lives, all sorts of things. And on that, for past injuries that you might have had when you were younger in your teenage years or 20s, now in your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, or whatever, you might be feeling some of those aches and pains now from like 20, 30 years ago. So even then, they didn't completely heal. So we want to be doing what we can on every level in terms of eating the best foods. Those type of junk foods that you shouldn't be eating, you got to stop eating them because it's going to go somewhere and it's going to affect your health later in life. And now is that time where we want to be banking up our health, banking up our nutrients, banking up for our vitality, so that when we get even older in years, we're not dealing with different health issues. So with the earth and the spleen and the digestion, the earth element and the spleen rules the muscles, it rules the flesh. So like your physical muscles are also related to your digestion and the strength of your digestion. So when your body's digestion is weak, if you have like a muscle injury or someone has a muscle injury, from an Eastern medical perspective, your body is not going to heal as well as it can because your digestion is off and they're all related to each other. And so just some things there. And so with the muscles, well, actually, let's go back. Let's go back a little. So when we're dealing with the tendons and the joints, some of the things that we want to do to help to strengthen the tendons and joints, to take it back to that with the liver, are simple things like stretching, making sure you stretch before and after you exercise, or even if you're not exercising as much, or hopefully you are, but if you're not, making sure that you're strengthening and lengthening your tendons in your joints and keeping your joints and tendons supple by doing stretches. With Qigong, there's an exercise called the tendon changing exercise, where you're doing all of these different stretches with all of your different joints to help to keep them, moving. There's a saying that a moving hinge doesn't rust. And so we want to keep that, we want to keep moving in our bodies so that we don't rust. When we're dealing with the heart and the blood vessels, that's where your cardio comes in. Getting things that get your heart pumping, get your heart rate up. We want to, and that's going to help to work and strengthen that muscle. Our heart is amazing. It's pumping all day, all night, throughout our whole lives. And some of the things we want to do is keep that heart rate pumping and that heart rate exercise. When we were children and younger, we ran around all the time. You look at a child. I was watching my son yesterday. We forgot something in the house. He sprinted from the car, ran up the steps in the building, came back down the other steps, and that took like a half hour. I don't know how many of us are getting out the car and sprinting fully anywhere, for any reason, unless, for any reason, like really, unless they're in danger. That's the only thing that I can really see anyone as an adult consciously doing it. So we want to get some of that youthful exuberance back by helping to get our heart rate up with all of the different cardio that you can do. With the muscles, of course, we want to strengthen the muscles with calisthenics, weight training exercises, anything that's going to strengthen our muscles, because our muscles, in addition to just being strong, our muscles help to support our posture. And when our posture is supported, that's going to help to open up the spine and lengthen the spine, which then is going to help to relieve some muscle spasms and help with the flow of that nervous system energy and of the blood circulation and all of those sorts of things. Next, we're going to move on to the lungs. The metal element relates to the lungs. And so the lungs, we say, rule the skin. We don't really think about the skin as much with athletics and sports, but the lungs are that respiratory function. The lungs are those bellows. The lungs is how we get in that air, which is necessary to build quality chi and blood within the body. So we want to, again, with the cardio, that's going to deal with the blood, with our lungs, some of that deep breathing energy, that deep breathing intention is going to be with the lungs, whether we're dealing in meditation, whether we're walking down the street, whether you're sitting doing your work. You can intentionally take deep breaths in and out. Some of the things that we can do is the breathing with the diaphragm. One of the ways that I suggest that you breathe with your diaphragm is to lay on your back, excuse me. You can breathe with your diaphragm by laying on your back, putting a book on your stomach, and as you inhale, you want to focus on lifting the book, and as you exhale, you want to bring that energy, you want to decrease and bring your stomach back in. So you're going to inhale and puff your stomach out, and when you exhale, you pull your stomach back in, and that's what they call abdominal breathing. It's another way of doing that. And so while you're running, exercising, walking down the street, any sort of activity, you want to focus on abdominal breathing. And that's going to help to deepen the oxygen into your lungs. As we get older also, our oxygen capacity can decrease also. Where the lungs can become drier, the lungs don't expand as much as they could from different reasons, whether just the aging of the lungs, dryness in the air, smoking, toxins in the air from bus exhaust, all sorts of things. And so we want to deep breathe, and we can even do some fire breathing when you're inhaling, exhaling quickly to work to expel those toxins out of the body. Take a walk in in nature. Take a walk on the beach if you can get to the beach, and breathe in those ions and that energy and that chi coming off the ocean. Take a trip to your local park, like a forest, like a park with a whole bunch of trees, and just walk through that if you're in the city. Go to these nature spaces so that you can rejuvenate. Go on vacation if you can to a natural place, and that's even going to help to relax the mind also. Lastly, we're going to deal with the water element, which rules the kidneys. And the kidneys rule the bones. The kidneys rule the reproductive organs. We say that the kidneys are like a battery pack in the body that stores your body's vital energy. And slowly over time, as we age, that jing, that essence of the body can begin to decrease. And that's where we see the aging, the graying of the hair, the wrinkling of the skin, the decrease in vitality, and all of the things that come with that. We say that deals with the kidney essence. And so we want to support that kidney essence by taking care of the body. This is where the proper sleep comes in with reproductive health. Men, as we get older, we want to decrease the amount of times that we ejaculate during intercourse. The type of foods that we consume is going to also relate to with our digestion. The type of foods that we consume is how our bodies are going to take those nutrients and turn it into our body's chi and blood. That chi and blood further goes on to support our body's jing, which is our essence, and that jing goes on to help to support our shen, which is our life purpose. They call that the three treasures: chi, jing, and shen. That's another conversation for another time. And so that holistic way of living and thinking and working to protect ourselves in all ways, whether we're talking about physically, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, all of these things are related to the health of our organs and to how we age and how quickly we age, which then affects our athletic performance and how we're able to do our thing. The kidneys rule the back. The kidneys rule the knees. And so we want to strengthen the body again with different qigong exercises. There are a lot of different foods that we can eat that support the kidneys and support the jing. And so that's going to be in part 2, where we're going to go through all of the foods and the herbs and review the exercises and nutritional supplements that support all of these different organ systems. And so with that, let's see, we have any comments. Peace to all my folks on Instagram that are tuned in. If you're tuned in on Facebook or any of the other platforms, LinkedIn, and you have a comment, go ahead and put that in. If not, I don't see any comments right now. So, please, you can like, follow, and subscribe. Dr. Bashara Wilson, again, doctor of East Asian medicine, private practice for 22 years now, in private practice, specializing in sports medicine, acupuncture, musculoskeletal conditions, neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, knee pain, specifically for folks that are athletic and working to be athletic, whether you're a professional athlete working with some different professional teams like the Liberty, some different folks in the Olympics, and also your everyday person going to the gym, folks who want to run marathons. Just had some folks that successfully completed the New York Marathon and all. And so please follow me. Again, this is my website, New York Sports Acupuncture, based here in Brooklyn, in Bed-Stuy, on the border here of Bed-Stuy and Bushwick. And I'm also available for telemedicine, where we can do evaluations over the phone. Of course, that's not going to be any acupuncture if you're not in the office, but there are many ways that we can create a personalized health plan for you that's dealing with lifestyle changes, herbal medicine, nutritional supplements, corrective exercises that you can do at home to help to strengthen and support your body. I can be reached at 888-375-5444. I encourage you, give me a call for free Achieve Your Health Goals evaluation, and we can see what your health goals are and discuss your personalized treatment plan to get you onto those health goals. And lastly, you check out my website, manifestherbs.com. I have a lot of different training formulas on there for your serious athletes. I have one called Lion Stance, which is a training formula, some herbs that you would take before and after exercising that are going to help support your body's chi and blood, help the recovery of your tendons and joints and your muscles, help to relax the mind so that you can get the most that you can out of your exercise, and also with the process of recovery. Have a men's formula, a general men's formula on there, which is going to deal with men's hormonal health and strengthening the different needs that men have, and also a women's formula on there. On that, I want to give a shout out to my wife, Dr. Danette Bean. She specializes in women's health. She's also a doctor of acupuncture and Eastern medicine. So for all the sisters out there that are going through the different changes in life, perimenopause and menopause and things like that, check out my wife. She is phenomenal. She's also been in private practice as long as I have, 21, 22 years and years of experience in school. And so, again, your brother, Dr. Bashara Wilson. Let's check to see if there are any comments here. So I don't see any comments, but yeah, thank you all for tuning in, and I will see you all next time. And next week, I'll be on between 8:45 and 9:15. If you're getting on late, the replay will be on YouTube, and it'll also be in my Facebook and LinkedIn. It doesn't save to Instagram, unfortunately. But yeah, go check that out. And also check out some of my past videos and shorts, dropping a lot of gems that help to support you and your health goals and your longevity, so that you can be strong and fit and do all of the physical activities and mental activities and spiritual activities, and ultimately help you to achieve your health goals through fitness in all aspects of your life. So on that, I want to say peace. All right, everybody. Thanks again.